Good evening. It is time for Bike Church. I wanted to thank everybody, first of all, who showed up for the Rutledge celebration. We had a great time. Lisa did an excellent job putting that together, and she let me help, and I'm glad that she did. We had a lot of fun. It was hot, but a lot of fun. I think we had somewhere between 25 and 30 entries for the parade. The pictures are on the event page and on the Town of Rutledge's page. We had a lot of great vendors. Just a little shout out to Flint's Smokehouse from Highland Home. If you've not tried them, you need to. I knew things were going to be hectic that day, so I got there early, got to the booth early, about 11 o'clock, and went ahead and got my barbecue sandwich for lunch. And then I got what they call loaded mac for supper. And let me just tell you, oh my goodness, the mac and cheese, and it's made with a white cheese sauce and not yellow cheese, which it affected the taste some kind of way. It was delicious. I believe there's bacon in it. I don't know what else. And then they put barbecue meat over the top, and then they have two different kinds of barbecue sauce, a regular red sauce that I tried on my sandwich, and then a white mayonnaise-based sauce that I put on the loaded mac and cheese. And goodness gracious, I could have climbed into the little cup, not the little cup, it was a little cardboard container, probably about that big, and it was very heavy, and I could have climbed in there and eaten my way out. It was delicious. It was delicious. Of course, everything that went on that day was very, very well done, and I'm so glad that everybody turned out. And that, so just from me, thank y'all to everybody that came and participated. And got to see fireworks Thursday night. I did not make it to the fireworks Friday night because it was raining here, and I was afraid it was going to rain there. And by the time I made my mind up, it was too late in the game to go. But anyway, and then I got to see fireworks last night from my neighbors who did an excellent job. I'm not going to say it was just a little local thing. It was just my neighbors doing it, but they did a great job, and I enjoyed watching them from my porch. I'm going to ask them if they will let me next year, or the next time they decide to do fireworks. I'm going to ask them if they will let me help sponsor them, because they did a great job, and I would love for them. I hope they keep doing it. So great job to everybody who did anything this week. Great job, neighbors. The fireworks were good. Even if the dogs didn't like it, oh well, they stayed inside and barked and complained. But it's okay. They bark and complain when it thunders and lightning, so it's all right. But anyway, had a great week. Had a good church service this morning. Always like being in my home church, Lifeline. We just have a good church. Even when I get confused sometimes, because Miss Doris and I visit a lot of different churches, and this is one reason I wish every church would put their service times on their Facebook page. And Lifeline does, don't get me wrong. This was totally on me. I had my mind made up that church started at 10:30, and so we eased in there about 10 minutes after 10, and we were late. We just missed some of the singing, but I hate missing any of it because I love the praise and worship team, and I love the kind of music that we do. It's a lot of contemporary stuff. It's very good. It just speaks to my heart. I know I'm an old lady, but I just love it, and the louder it is, the better I like it. So had a good service this morning. Great message. Again, I will say this: please, if you attend a church somewhere, please make sure whoever is over your social media accounts, make sure the times of service are listed and a street address. And I'll tell you why. When Randy and I, when the kids were younger, we would go on vacation. And, of course, now, when I'm talking about, that was back before Facebook and all that. But we would get on the map and find a church near where we were. Like if we were on Wednesday night or Sunday morning, we would find a church near where we were. And we would go to church. And so you want to make sure that anybody that wants to visit your church, you want to make sure they can find you. So just just the times and the street address so people can get to you. Don't expect your members to be able to answer that because, I mean, just make it out there. It doesn't cost anything to put it on there. So just put it out there. Make sure that everywhere your church is listed, make sure it's got everything correct. And if there's a phone number they need, that's a great thing to have on there too. But just throwing that out there. But I got churches mixed up because another church that we visit has church at 10:30, and so again, that was totally on me, not the church. But just do that if you can. And y'all, I'm just sitting here looking at this wrinkled shirt. Don't look at it because I've come in and I'm not dressed to go outside. So this is my stay in the house shirt. But anyway, I hope y'all had a great week because I did. We got to go eat lunch at the Cracker Barrel, and Miss Doris and I always enjoy that. And Lori was with us, and we just had a good time. And we just had a good time. I always enjoy spending time with Miss Doris. And I think she enjoys spending time with me too, because both of us act silly most of the time. And and if you know Miss Doris, you know when she's picking at some, I'm going to tell this on her, say something, she'll go like that, especially to a little kid. Well, we called Jennifer and Lyra this afternoon on Facebook Messenger and was talking to them. And I turned it to Grandmama and I said, look, Lyra, it's Grandmama. And she said, now, of course, everybody couldn't have understood it, but I'm Granny, so I know that Lyra said, hey, Grandmama. Now, again, Jennifer and I are probably the only ones that could understand that because she was still speaking Lyra and not English, But that's what she said. She said, hey, Grandmama, two times. And then she stuck her tongue out at Grandmama. So she remembers that Grandmama's the one that sticks her tongue out. And she also remembers that Grandmama is the one that gives her tea in a straw. And if you haven't seen that, that's funny. More tea ends up on everybody's shirt and the table and everything else. But she loves Grandmama to give her tea in a straw. So anyway, saying all that, had a great week. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have been the person you're supposed to be. And I hope you've made good choices. And guess what? If you have not, tomorrow is Monday and you get another chance. So, saying all that, this has been on my mind a little bit. And then Bruce mentioned it this morning. And I thought, yep, that's what I need to talk about tonight. So I'm going to read Exodus chapter 17, starting at verse 8, and I'm reading from the Christian Standard Version. I always like to tell people that in case you're reading from a different translation, you know what you can follow along with me. So the title of that section is The Amalekites Attack, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't know but you know what I'm saying. Verse 8, at Rephidim, Amalek came and fought against Israel. Moses said to Joshua, select some men for us and go fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the hilltop with God's staff in my hand. Joshua did as Moses told him and fought against Amalek. Now, first of all, Moses sent Joshua, go pick some men and go fight against Amalek. Now, I don't know that Joshua was a warrior, but Moses told him what God said, and Moses said, yes, sir, and went and did it. So went up to the top of the hill. While Moses held up his hand, holding God's staff, Israel, I guess, it says he had God's staff. Tomorrow I will stand on the hilltop with God's staff. While Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. But whenever he put his hand down, Amalek prevailed. When Moses' hand grew heavy, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat down on it. And then Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and one on the other, so that his hands remained steady until the sun went down. So Joseph defeated Amalek and his army with the sword. The Lord then said to Moses, write this down on a scroll as a reminder and recite it to Joshua. I will completely blot out the memory of Amalek under heaven. And Moses built an altar and named it, the Lord is my banner. He said, indeed, my hand is lifted up toward the Lord's throne. The Lord will be at war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now, if you've been in church very long, you're familiar with this story of Moses holding his hands up and Aaron and her holding his arms up. And that in itself is a testimony and is a message, because sometimes it's our responsibility to lift somebody else's hands up. It's not our job to be leader. It's our job to lift up the leader and help them and do what they need to do so that you can be successful. But I also want to remind you, I don't know if you've ever stood and held your hands up for any length of time, especially if you're holding something. Just go in your kitchen and grab a glass and hold your arm out. Just hold it out straight out from you. Don't even have to hold it up in the air. Just hold it out straight out from you and see how long you can stand there holding that glass before your arm starts to get tired. You know, that glass don't weigh much to begin with, but before it's over with, it feels like it weighs 10 or 20 pounds. And if you're having to hold it over your head, that's even worse, because it's not a normal position. You might hold your arms out, but you don't usually walk around with your arms up. So Moses had to make his mind up that he was going to hold his arms up no matter what. It was his responsibility. He was responsible for every person on that battlefield. He was responsible for their life. And if he just decided he was going to quit, put his hands down, they would have been overtaken, and probably every one of them would have been killed. So that's what I thought about today. Moses making up his mind. And I know God asks us to do things, and we look at those things and we think, it sounds okay to begin with, and then you get to thinking about it, counting the cost, and you think, I don't know if I can do that. Well, first you've got to make your mind up that you are going to do it if that's what God asks you to do. And second of all, you need to make sure that you have people you can count on who will lift you up and help you when you need it. God did not put any of us here on this earth to do anything 100% on our own. Nothing. We are, as humans, we are made to be social. We are social creatures. And we want to be with other humans. Now, that's not saying that every one of us wants to be with every human, but unless something is wrong with you, there are people that you want to be with. And if there is something wrong with you that you don't want to be with anybody, please get somebody to help you figure out why that is. So I just want to encourage you, first of all, like I said, when God asks you to do something, make your mind up that you are willing to do it, knowing that God's going to help, because God sent those two men there to be with him. They were his arms when he couldn't hold his arms up. But Moses had to agree to do it to begin with. If he'd said, well, no, I'm not going to do this, it wouldn't have done any good. Anything they did wouldn't have mattered. Moses had to be the one to do what he was told to do. So the two sides of that. Do what you're called to do, and when you have an opportunity, lift up somebody else who's doing what they're called to do. It's up to all of us to help each of us. And so I mean that's my thing. If God wants you to do something, he's going to give you the resources if you will use them. So hope y'all have a great week. Don't forget, if you're local, don't forget the farmers market Monday afternoons at 3 o'clock from 3 to 6 out at the rodeo building under the pavilion. Lots of good vendors. I know there are other things going on, but right now I can't think of anything. But anyway, lots of good things going on. If you're not sure, look at the local newspaper and look at Facebook for local events, because usually there's things listed there. I hope y'all have a great week. Please make sure you're drinking enough water and staying hydrated, and staying inside if possible during the hottest part of the day. Anyway, I love y'all. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week.